Hello, hello, everyone. I am bringing this four-step process to you for when you have a crisis, when you're feeling stressed, if you are along a body image journey for improving your body image, improving your relationship with food, overcoming stress eating, yo-yo dieting, or weight loss or body composition. This is a four-step process to take you from holy moly into a clear directive in what needs to be done moving forward. Technically, this could work for any sort of interpersonal problem as well. If you're confused about what's going on, this will help you take everything from that clutter in your brain and put it into clear, actionable items. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is if you are having this moment of like, oh, WTF, or why is this happening? Or I have so much going on, I don't even know. Whatever story it is that whatever problem you're currently facing today, I want you to get out a pen and paper and go through this process with me. 4 steps, and it shouldn't take too long. First thing you're going to do is write down what is the problem. What's the problem you're currently facing? So let's use the example of, say, somebody comes in. Well, you would be going through this on your own. It's a self-therapy tool. But let's say you're feeling stressed because you tracked all week and you're not losing weight. You didn't lose weight this week and you're feeling really stressed and you're feeling pissed off. So what are we going to do? The first step is to focus. Let's hone in on what the problem actually is. So the target problem that you're coming in with is that you're stressed because you're not losing weight. So now you're going to ask these questions, series of questions. What are the different parts of the problem? Okay, so the different parts of the problem are maybe what you have been tracking. Were there things that you weren't tracking? How was your sleep? Did your fitness levels change? Maybe you came in expecting that you were going to lose 5 pounds this week. Maybe you actually lost 1 pound. Maybe you lost no weight. Maybe you gained weight. Maybe things are hormonal. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. Maybe you had cut out carbs and then had an increase in carbs and an increase in your glycogen storage. So those are just some different parts of the problem that I just came up with. You may have your own too. Maybe you have extra stressors. Maybe this normally wouldn't have bothered you. Maybe it was supposed to be a maintenance week. Who knows? So once you've isolated, and a good way to do this, if you're having any sort of like interpersonal problems, this can be really helpful as well, is do a pie chart. So just draw a circle and try and think of as many different components into the problem. Our brains do this really weird thing of going, oh, this is the problem, this is why it happened, when it is never just one thing. And when we think it's just one thing, the first thing that our brains do is go to anger or blame. So we're going to blame somebody else for our problems. Oh, I'm stressed, this didn't work. Or we internalize it. Oh, I feel like a failure. Okay. So which part of this is most upsetting? Probably maybe the stress for this person, maybe the work that they put into it. What is the meaning that they're giving this situation? So the meaning they're giving the situation is probably like a pass-fail system, right? Oh, I didn't lose weight this week, so I failed. So you may want to reflect on, hey, have I been losing weight up until this point? Have there been times where was I gaining weight and now this is a maintenance week? That could be a win, right? So what is the meaning you're giving to this situation? What are you telling yourself that this means, right? So this is similar. This could sound something like, well, this means that it's not working, that what I tried this week didn't work. Well, maybe you started working out, but when you started working out, your appetite increased and you ended up over consuming calories. Are you going to interpret that as your fitness routine isn't working? Right? So some different ways of looking at what this means to you. And then how does this relate to my underlying beliefs? So let's just play this out. And let's say that this person believes that they are a failure because they are not losing weight. Okay. So now we revisit, we say, okay, so what is the target problem here? The target problem started as, well, I'm stressed because I'm not losing weight. Now we're starting to realize, well, I've internalized not losing weight as a failure because I value weight loss as being successful. And my expectations were that I was going to lose weight every single week while I was tracking. All right, well, now we have much more clarity on what the problem actually is. So now that we know that the problem is actually a feeling of failure, and that feeling of failure is based off of missed expectations that we put onto ourselves, let's try and make sense of this. It's interesting how two people can be in the exact same situation. One of them finds it stressful. One of them doesn't find it stressful. One of them, it completely makes sense to them. And one of them is flabbergasted. This does not make sense to me. So a good way to interpret the second step is, how would you explain this to somebody who has an opposing viewpoint? How does this make sense to you? So you're going to ask these questions to try and develop that. The first thing is, what experiences is this thought based on? Well, I tracked the past 2 weeks. I tracked the past 3 weeks and I lost weight each week. Okay, that's a valid, that makes sense. Maybe what facts support this? Well, it appears that I'm in a caloric deficit. Okay, if this is true, what is the strongest piece of evidence to support it? Maybe the strongest piece is the evidence of the tracking. Maybe the strongest piece of evidence when you go back to revisit what the problem actually is in terms of the failure is that this is usually when I feel like giving up. When I hit a plateau is when I feel like giving up. And in the past, this is the point when I would normally give up. And then that deems me as a failure. Okay. And has someone directly told me this? Right. Chances are someone has not directly told you that you are a failure if you don't lose weight, right? Maybe your expectation was that you were going to lose 3 pounds. Has somebody directly said, hey, you're going to lose 3 pounds this week if you do ABC, DFG? Maybe. It's just some food for thought. You're starting to develop the understanding of how this makes sense to you. That's all we care about in this step. And you really want to hammer home, it's the understanding of what you just did in the first step. Where is this coming from? Where's this feeling of failure coming from? Where are these expectations coming from in this example? It can help to go through these questions with me. If you're watching this and you're feeling a little scattered or confused, book a session with me and we'll go through them, because it can help to have somebody objectively look at these with you. So we've isolated and removed what the problem actually is. We have better clarity and focus on that problem. We understand why this makes sense to us. Now we're going to branch out with a little bit of an open curiosity in terms of expanding this understanding. And there's 3 different types of evidence. Okay. The first one that we went through was our perceived evidence, and that's how we perceive things. There are 2 other types. There is known evidence, right? So these are the facts, the hard facts. And then there's unknown things that you may not even be thinking of or be in your conscious awareness. So what could we be missing? What do we not know? And I know you're going to say, well, I don't know what I don't know, right? Okay, yeah. Do a little work here, right? This is when you start to get the wheels turning. So do you need to reach out to somebody and ask them for a second opinion? Reach out to me if I'm your coach, your counselor. What other things could you be missing? Well, I didn't really take into consideration that I was super stressed this week and I barely slept. Okay, what are some other things you could be missing? I feel like a failure in a lot of other areas of my life. This was just kind of the cherry on the cake, and I feel like I'm projecting it. Interesting. Do your behaviors influence your experience? So what I mean by this is this is to explore your behavioral choices. So if your behavioral choice in the past has been maybe to get on the scale every day, how is that going to influence your eating for the rest of the day or the rest of the week, or your mood, right? You may have a behavioral backlash that you're inclined to do. Maybe we've already done it and you're here today going, oops, shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's okay. We have other choices to make. What are your behavioral choices now moving forward? If you choose to continue to track every day, are you going to set your expectations up to lose 3 pounds again, knowing that that was not a likely scenario that was going to happen this week? It was a missed expectation that made you feel like a failure. What other behavioral choices do you have, right? Could you focus more on sleep? Could you focus on your fitness? Right? There are lots of different opportunities. This really challenges you to go through all of those behaviors, your do's and your do nots, because remember, inaction is a behavioral choice as well. So how are those behaviors going to influence your life experience, right? If you feel this way and you want to move past it, what feelings do you want to generate this week? And what behavioral choices are in line with that? Based on the facts, what might not be true? Well, it may not be true that I was in a caloric deficit to lose 3 pounds this week. It may not be true that I was a complete failure this week because I was due to start my period. That may not be true because I increased my water intake by 1 liter each day and I'm holding on to water weight. So my maintenance could actually be a loss. And are there any exceptions that I'm forgetting about? I actually didn't track any of my oils. Interesting. Maybe maybe a past experience has made me feel like a failure, and maybe I'm putting too much of my self-worth on a number on the scale. This is just that curious approach. If you've gotten this far and you're watching this and you're currently a client, definitely reach out to me, and this can help with having some objective viewpoints. So branching out that pie chart of all the other possibilities. And hopefully the wheels are turning with some different behavioral choices that you have moving forward. So lastly, now let's summarize this whole story. So how would you summarize, continuing on with this example? Well, when I first came in, when I first, saw the number on the scale, I was stressed because I wasn't losing weight. What I found when we dug a little bit deeper was that I actually felt like a failure because I set my expectations to lose a lot of weight when realistically that was not the case in the past. And I really didn't have any evidence for that. So I put a lot of my self-worth into that number. And when I didn't attain that goal, that perfectionist thinking and that dichotomous thinking ended up making me feel like a failure. And that was not a good feeling. And I am aware of all the other things that go into my weight loss journey. I'm still moving forward with wanting to lose weight and working towards losing weight. But I'm aware of all the other things that went into it, like my sleep, my stress level, my overall management, my water intake, and my fitness. So let's synthesize this new story with the original story. How does this fit with the original story that you told yourself when you came in? Give it a number. Is it 10% the same? Is it 90% the same? 50? Whatever it is. What might still fit, what sounds like it still fits from beginning to end, is that the interest is really still in losing weight and staying focused on the goals, right? The difference is in that emotional diffusion. I wouldn't be surprised if rewatching this video, my tone, even just from this pretend scenario, was very different from the original starting point to the last starting point. The last point that we have, that summary, is a lot more comprehensive. It's a lot more nuanced, and it's a lot more it's a lot easier to digest and understand what we need to do now moving forward and what happened this week. So we came in stressed, we're leaving with a plan. So now you want to ask yourself, what is a more balanced or rational statement that I can apply to my upcoming week? We want to move this into action regardless, okay, so that you're not doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, then, that's what is that? That's the definition of insanity or something. There's some famous quote with that. So what can we do now moving forward? So maybe this person says, I have a lot going on this week. I'm aiming for, a little bit of a maintenance week. I'm not going to get on the scale every day. I'm only going to get on the scale at the end of the week. And I'm going to do things that make me feel good throughout the week. So that may look like, I know I feel good when I do my workouts. I know I feel good when I eat mostly nourishing foods. I know I feel good when I drink about this amount of water. And what I'm going to do to reduce my stress and anxiety is I'm going to cut my caffeine before 1 o'clock and limit it there. So hopefully that can help with my stress and my sleep as well. Wow. Big difference. Imagine how hard it is to be thinking about that. We have that end takeaway, that action, those actionable items. Now imagine trying to process that information if you're coming and going, well, I'm freaking stressed. I did everything and I'm not losing weight. And you can see now the challenge. This is why counseling is very different than coaching, because in coaching, we give advice. So if I gave you the advice of okay, well, you're stressed, stay focused. I can see that end result where we want to be and what's beneficial for the client. But imagine just being told that without having all those gaps in between. That processing helps. Okay, so I hope you take something out of this. I hope to hear from all of you and get some feedback on your takeaways. And let me know if you're watching this. Please book a free consultation if you haven't worked with me in the past, and I can help take you through this. But for my clients who are currently present and currently watching, Let me know how it goes. I want to hear the takeaways. And if you message me, I can even send you out these slides for you to have on hand. All right. I hope that helps somebody out there, and enjoy the rest of your day processing. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Bye.